You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. Lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. I am your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer. And this show is not about being interviewed. It's a platform for experts to present. I have hand-chosen a team of people who are at the top of their game, leaders in their field. They are killing it. Every time they come out here, I'm learning something, and I'm sure that you are too. Let's bring out our two expert presenters. Joining us, Mike Boissonneault, nice to have you, and Megan Sandwick, nice to have you.
Nice to be here.
And it's nice that you two are just meeting, which I think is great. I love fostering connections between people.
Thank you for making that happen.
Thank you. Thank you.
So as always, I'm going to spotlight each of you. And if you would share with our audiences, in case there are people who have never watched the show, can you imagine? But in case they have not watched the show, give us a little bit about your background and what you will be sharing with us today in your lesson. I'm going to start with you, Mike.
Well, thank you, Dr. Jacalyn, once again for having me here. And it was very nice to meet Megan backstage, as we've been crossing paths now for a few weeks. I've had about a 40-year career in media. And in that career, I've done a lot of things production-wise, operations-wise, technology and engineering. But I've also had a penchant for business and HR insight, soft skills. So for these lessons, my first 8 of these presentations, it's really about 8 different disciplines of HR that are, I think, crucial or critical to the success of a business manager, for them to understand, to embrace, to learn, and to put it into their business acumen and increase their business skill. So that's what I'm doing. And today I'll be talking about talent acquisition, or as I call it in manager speak, filling the roster.
Very exciting. Thank you, Mike. And Megan, how about you?
So I am Megan, and I am looking forward to hearing your presentation, Mike. I am a strategic productivity partner, and so I work with entrepreneurs and small business owners to identify habits, processes, and procedures that will take control of your time so you're working smarter, not harder. And I have my website is downwithspp.com. If you're interested in signing up for the newsletter, you'll get tips like you're going to get today. Today, we're going on a treasure hunt, by the way, for the most precious information of all. It is a treasure hunt. And so if you would like tips like this, you can sign up for my newsletter at www.downwithspp.com/newsletter. And I'm excited to present today.
Thank you, Megan. I'm getting your newsletter and loving it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So Mike has volunteered to go first, which we greatly appreciate. So I'm going to take Megan and myself and put us backstage, and I will share your presentation as well.
And thank you once again for the opportunity to instruct in a lesson. You see on the screen here, filling the roster. Today we will be talking about what is known in the industry as talent acquisition. So let me give you a quick overview of these series of lessons. These lessons are designed to give the business manager a general understanding and a working foundation of the many disciplines that encompass business managing and the HR role specifically. It's not meant to be an HR certification course. Instead, it's an HR insight for business managers. The content is contemporary and it's fluid. And I will at times refer to human resources as advocacy. It's a term that I recommend based on a very positive vibe, advocate, and the fact that human resources supports both business and human resources. So it's not just HR anymore, advocacy. The lessons are meant to help business managers, often first or second tier managers, with an inside look at the HR practice and tips for learning and applying some of them into their routines. This will make a manager smarter and stronger. And why? Why? Because in business, managers shoulder much of the responsibility of advancing both the business goals and staff growth. I'll focus on both. For example, many understand the supply chain of a product, but I'd like them to also understand the life cycle of an employee, from candidate to retiree. Remember, without rules and organization, businesses fail and economy suffers. So I'll talk about some of the theoretical practice and offer some endorsements of best practice or human resources practice that you see today. So we agree that HR blends people management with business support. It's very important that new managers understand more of the soft skills, the people managing that produce good results, grow leaders. So additionally, knowing how and where a business fits into your industry or into your marketplace is very important. It also strengthens the manager's acumen. So both managers and HR practitioners take part in these lessons and can find these lessons beneficial. It's good for each side to understand and embrace each other's specialties. So I'll correlate the HR discipline with the manager's role wherever I can. So let's begin. When we talk about filling the roster or talent acquisition, it's a very deep and very scientific approach today to get everything done and get everything done correctly and compliantly. So let's talk about the life cycle. And again, you're going to see a lot of topics on the screen. I'll give you time each time I turn to a different slide to look at. There's many steps involved. These are just the topical outline. I'm not going to hit every one in depth. These are to give you an opportunity when you go and take this lesson out later from the archive, you'll be able to do a little bit more research and go deeper, or look, you can get the book. There's more in my book. Let's start with the life cycle. The life cycle of a hire starts well before the candidate ever becomes an employee. Starts at the business design and organizational charts. Those are in the earlier lessons. Managers and leaders should always have a detailed understanding of the parameters of the roles that they supervise for, and therefore what they hire for. This helps when it's good. It's good to spot talent. You can spot talent internally who are doing well, but maybe better positioned in other roles or maybe higher roles. You can also, it helps you to spot talent outside. There are many components when we look for candidates. So we're going to go through some of the timelines and milestones necessary to source, collect, disseminate, and select the best candidates for the jobs we employ. There are many reasons to creating a vacancy. And a vacancy in your organization means there's a hole in the organization chart and you need someone to fill the gap because otherwise productivity is slipping. There's something missing in your supply chain. These may include, a vacancy could include leaving the company, somebody gets a promotion, an opening hole in the supply chain, new business coming in, expanding your roster. There's many reasons why you would start with creating a vacancy. Now you've got to fill that. Managers should understand that there could be many options already in place. Your company may have a historical way of dealing with vacancies to begin with. So understand what your protocol is in the business that you're in. The business leaders need to do things orderly and compliantly in many cases. Your recruitment may be done internally by a talent acquisition group in HR, externally by an agency, or a centralized operation possibly by you, the business leader, manager, or owner. In every case, good organizational detail in the recruitment process will pay off in the end. There are many legal components to this, so it's good to pay attention. Posting and marketing. Posting and marketing a position is a key early step. When I say posting and marketing, don't just post a job for what it is, a title with a brief description. There's more to it. Market that job. Get it out to the targeted audience. If the role has a job description that is accurate and up to date, relevant, make sure the current language and expectation of the job is also in the posting. Let's make sure that you're tying all of your business from organizational chart to hire. Basic information like company and location. It's important. Company culture, it's important. It's important to be part of that marketing. It's just as important to note the actual required information. What do you require in the information? What do you prefer in the information? You start to break your job description down into components. These are the parts of the posting process that should be buttoned up. All candidates should be evaluated against a consistent expectation or requirement so you have a fair and balanced approach, depending on the role, to the hire. Combination of information works well together and makes the environment, the workplace, and the actual role align. Posting and marketing is very important. There are many parts to go through thoroughly when you're researching candidates. So once your posting goes up, many candidates may be interested, many more than you expect. How do you filter to the best? How do you filter it down? How do you screen all of them to find the best candidate? How will you know when the best candidate has been found? So you need to stay disciplined, organized, and set some parameters ahead of time. So figure out the ideal candidate for your job. Build a mock profile. Build a profile of the job as you would love to see. This is the kind of person, this kind of role I'd like to have filled. If you can consider the best questions to ask based on that, along with the types of answers you're looking for, now you've got a basis for making a very fair and balanced hire. Consistent with all the candidates. Keep your questions, keep your thoughts, keep all of this consistent so you have good comparatives. There are many ways to begin filtering candidates. So you want to filter down to a final list to select from. Screening resumes and job applications is a great first step, and it's very, very essential. Make sure the basics are covered. Phone screens begin a personal relationship. Understand that. Whether you give a phone screen or someone in your employee gives a phone screen, or maybe an outside partner or an agency, a phone screen is a personal connection. Let's make sure that we start it with a personal connection and we end it that way as well. When a candidate is either taken to the next step or at some point declined to go further, return the call. Let's not ghost. Ghosting is the term where no one ever hears again from someone. But if you started the personal relationship, end it with a phone call as well. Set that expectation up front. Don't make it an uncomfortable position to be in. And make sure that they know someone will call. If they know someone's going to call with good or bad information from their point of view, they'll expect it. Always close out candidates with professional courtesy. So once the candidates have all been reviewed, screened, and interviewed, the team should get together, whoever's been part of this team, and discuss those interviews and what sets best candidates apart. Select a candidate, a final candidate, to go through the compensation steps. What are we going to pay them? How are they going to come in? What kind of entitlements will they get? What kind of benefits will they receive? It's a critical step, and the HR professionals are educated in the best ways to make a full offer, deliver the full menu of whatever benefits and rewards are possible. Make sure you have that template for the speaking points and write everything down. It's important to have a good delivery to a new hire. That's a very important early step. There are many other conditions that may include international hiring. It may include special work visas to work in the US and so on. We won't go into any depth of that right now in this scenario, but just know there are many varieties of visas for different information, different situations. There's a legal process that must be followed for each of those hires. So you see your legal group and your HR group to get that done right. Don't take on too much information or too much process if you haven't been trained or certified in that. But understand it, understand the responsibility for it. And a typical life cycle of the roster filling and acquiring new talent may include, but it's not limited to all of this: creating vacancies, posting, filtering, phone screening. You send to the manager for review, and the manager sends back and says, I want to interview these. And then you start to select finalists. You gain approvals for these. Compensation's approved. Start dates and onboarding are approved. Then you're going to be doing background checking and reference checking to further make sure that you have the right candidate. You do written offers, acceptance, you process data, and you onboard them. It's a very, very detailed, but it's an important roadmap to follow in order. The onboarding is a very important part of the life cycle. You've landed your candidate. He or she is now coming in. You're starting as a new employee. What will their first impression as an employee be like? Might be different than a candidate. And it should be very critical to get it right. Create a list of important items you need for the new hire. These items should include welcoming letters, information on pay, benefits, company policies, or the company handbook. We talked about that in earlier lessons. Where's the organizational chart that they should know? Who do they report to? Who's around them? Who are their immediate bosses? Set up tours, training. Have they seen the whole facility? Do they know where everything is? Make sure that the meet and greets with key team members or management is already planned. And then set them for expectations of follow-up, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, so that you can review with them how their experience is going to that point. This gets them a great candidate experience and new hire experience. Intake, a deeper dive now into intake, which is the most critical meeting you have prior to doing all of this with a manager. And this is a very important step for us to go a little bit deeper in at this point. An important early stage of recruitment happens here. Whether the hiring manager is the sole owner of the recruitment or has a team to manage it, the manager has to understand fully what is expected through the conclusion of the cycle, because you will likely be, as a manager, separated from your recruiting team at times, and therefore you want to be, and vice versa, the HR person is going to be expecting of the manager to deliver it as well. You have to be very careful about all the parameters that come from vacancy to hiring. So setting expectations is critical. The sourcing strategy is important. It deals with where, when, how to source in particular areas, such as college boards, niche organizations, job aggregators, company career sites. This is also known as targeted assessment. Where are you going to look for your next hires? This takes a well-defined role, evaluates them through screening and interviewing, and then potentially testing. And these are important requirements because specific skills or other demonstrated bundle of competencies may be required for certain roles. Understand that no matter what side of you're on, HR or the business, you have a partnership to get the right hire hired, because it's very important to get them hired, because it's a very expensive process if you bring in the wrong hire. A well-written posting has a cascading of skills, education, other requirements, has preferences that the hiring manager may have as well, and that can assign a weight to which are the most important of these. It would be very important when candidates move to the next step that they have passed through the requirements. How often will you refresh the posting? How often do you need to keep it up? How often do you need to refresh it? And how should it be written to maximize the potential of it? Is it potentially a great marketing tool as well? These and many more questions should be understood, debated, negotiated, and then written down and agreed to by all parties. Whoever's part of the interview process, whoever's part of the hiring process, whoever's part of the HR process. The budget for hiring. There could be a budget for it. There could be candidates that will vary by role, company, location, targeted marketing, travel. There could be some expense to it. You could be relocating the final selection to your region. There's a lot of information that's going to come from a budget, and depending on what side you're on, you're either assessing and approving it, or you might have to be sticking to the budget. There should be a cadence of communication. And what I mean by that is how regular, how much, and how important it is to be communicating. From intake to posting the candidate and those coming in for future selection. It's communication's very detailed and open communication plan. It's a key factor for success. The business leader or manager should own the role, stand by the attributes, skills, competency set forth, and the business leader drives the interview and candidate sourcing to those requirements and preferences. It's a very, very well-oiled machine when it's running well. This will ensure non-bias and fair process. Other tools that might help you to expedite the process and keep on track include a whole social media recruitment technique, overall online process. A lot of what today, the recruitment process, a lot of that process is done online. And it's very important to stay compliant, stay secure, keep everyone's information sacred as well. The internet helps expedite and organize the process. So let's talk quickly about some best practices. Consistency is the best practice in talent acquisition. Keep your screening questions in a template style so you can easily refer to them as often as necessary. Same questions to each candidate will give you the most fair and equitable process. Create a job folder for each candidate so you have the information and the bundles of information and bring them up as necessary. So therefore you've got file the candidates separately, so you've got all the information on each one, because you will be challenged at times for who you hire and who you don't hire. Structured interviewing. I am a very, very big proponent on structured interviewing. It's a definitive and scientific approach to hiring the right candidate. Create question and answer guides for specific jobs and use those guides for each candidate. Those who answer consistently toward your potential answers are the ones that you take a longer look at because they're getting the answers right. They're answering the questions the way you expect that job to be answered. You're not expecting it by gender or any other personal factor. You're answering the job, you're answering the questions, and you're selecting the questions based on the job, not the candidate. Structured approach is non-biased, it's a proven method, and it takes a lot of guesswork out of the selection. The candidate experience regarding traveling someone in or showing them around or giving them a comfort level that you have their back is a very, very important step. Think of ways to integrate the staff, tours, maybe lunch, meet and greet with potential teammates that may be on your staff that may be there to just give them a sense of the culture and company culture. Recruiters are trained to negotiate. So expect questions about salary, bonus, other benefits from a candidate. If there's little flexibility there, then understand how to involve the total rewards. And we talked about that in the earlier lesson on the data analysis and compensation. Total rewards and gives you the opportunity to present an alternative to just a straight salary, bottom line salary question. Recruiters who are trained, they're also trained to negotiate. They're trained to close the deal like a sales professional. Learn how they do it. Not over-promising. Don't ever over-promise. Put it in writing. Talk through the rewards, the potential growth, and perhaps a company culture that they can enrich with. Show them where the added value is beyond what they're looking at today, which is salary, vacation time, and shift. The background and reference checks are well worth the effort for the hiring team. Well worth getting a background and a reference check. A good background check validates areas such as education, criminal history, work experience, perhaps credit history. A reference check will generally use statements from peers, subordinates, or former managers. And they talk about what the person was like to work alongside or how they were managed. These are more behavioral-based evaluations. Very important when you're selecting candidates who are very closely aligned. So overall, there are many KPIs used in measuring talent acquisition success. This is the recruiter's world. This is the recruiter's job. There are success factors for every stage. So when you understand those and they understand what a business manager's expectations are, you can look at each other and say, well, you're measuring these for success. I'm measuring these. What are these? Could be the volume, the quality of the candidate, the complexity of the role, the time to fill, the diversity of the slate, the candidate experience. These are all things that recruiters are built to help with. So whether they're inside, outside, or part of your role, understand the candidate experience. And the other key indicators of recruiters, personal involvement. That personal touch can go a long way, whether they're an agency hire or internal hire for you. The hiring manager likely has an urgent need to fill any role in a short time frame and wants the best candidate at the best price and no baggage coming into the organization. Get all of that done at intake. Get all of that and find that balance. Feeders, where do you find them? Where do you find people? You find them through feeder programs or out on the internet or in job aggregators or boards. But typically what feeders are programs that are designed to give people a chance to break into the industry and show their stuff while they're in school or just out or post-grads or whatever that may be. There's a number of programs that can feed to the professional entry or even advanced levels. They include internships. This helps mitigate risk of hire because they've seen your operation. You've got to test drive them. They have a track record. A co-op is another program, usually through a college, that allows a full semester of work study, again, designed to be a perfect fit. It helps employers and the placement from colleges to make good deals and good opportunity for each to feed each other's programs. Referrals. Referrals are very important, and this is where you can go into a much deeper dive in the book. Referrals come from all areas of the business community. Hey, I've got a person for you. Hey, I've got this. Hey, have you filled this? Well, who is giving me the referral? So there should be a scrutiny placed on the referrals program. Figure out what you want from a referrals program, because you may have to have some compliance built in. You may have to, they may not always be, it could be family members, or it could be some other relationship to the person who's referring to you, and you may have to justify that at some point. Who are you talking to? Who's on your slate? Many executives may refer. They may, as a courtesy to the candidate, they may mandate that an interview takes place. What is your expectation? What is their expectation of you? Are you the manager or the recruiter? What's your expectation of your involvement in a referrals program? Because there could be some issues following this. If they reach out to you professionally to guide the candidate through the job process, maybe there's not going to be an expectation of hire, and it's just a courtesy. Find out where you sit in the chain of referrals. It's a very, very slippery slope at times with referrals. And then rotational programs. Rotational programs are very good for determining the candidate. They go through 2 or 3 multiple areas, I'll say, of a business. They're usually postgraduate or about to be graduating, might be in a master's program, and they get to test drive different areas of the company, and they get executives to basically give them thumbs up of if they are potential hires for the company. So like every other lesson, we do a support center slide, and I'll give you a quick review. Each module ends with this. It's a high-level reference outline. Look at these. Look at the outline, and then figure out how can you fit each one of those bullet points. The glossary. Stay on terms. Do you know the terms of where you are with talent acquisition or filling your roster? Periodicals. Where's the news of your business discussed, debated, promoted, distributed? Industry consultants. Who do you follow? Who do you interact with? Who will advance you in your acumen? Your references. Where's your playbook? What are your training tools? Trade organizations. These are the ones who set standards for your industry. Where can you stay connected in your industry and to understand how best to fill your roster? And of course, continuing support. Who do you rely on for mentoring, guiding, and motivation? There's always going to be slides at the end of these for you to take a look at and then dive deeper. And that's what we've got here. Filling the roster, keeping your employees happy, but keeping that organization filled is the first step on the success roll to productivity. So that's it, Dr. Jacalyn. We can come back to the studio.
That was a plethora of information. Oh my goodness. That was the Bible, I think, of filling the roster. So well done. I am very impressed with that lesson, as always.
I had a 4-year stint in when I was at ESPN. I had a 4-year stint in HR as a senior director in talent acquisition. I went from the business, 29 years in the business, being that guy out there who was always corralling other leaders in the business to let's all pool our resources, create intern programs, create feeder programs, create, go out to on the road and do roadshows. But it's also about being compliant and bringing diversity into this, and bringing the diversity, equity, and inclusion that's in my next lesson tomorrow, and we'll talk more about that then. But that was, so when I went to HR, it was to let's bring this and let's go from a staffing department to a talent acquisition. Let's make it a little bit more comprehensive. So it was a lot of fun to do that, and you learn a lot. And then that was a good transformational period for us.
How do the managers, leaders you've worked with, how do they feel about the whole hiring process in general?
I think it depends on, if a hiring manager, it would depend on their relationship with a recruiter. If they have a recruiter who's embedded with them, or maybe vested as a company employee, so if you have an inside group in HR, that's a great opportunity, a great relationship, because they're all vested in, and they're all kind of employees themselves and have that vested interest to move forward. If you're working with an outside group, you're probably finding someone who is incredibly talented in their business. That's their role. It's like taking your car into a mechanic who's very skilled at how to do everything for you, because that's their trade. So you get a recruiter outside that's their trade. You want a really good relationship with them. If there's turnover in the recruitment on the recruiter side, you're going to find a little bit more of a of bumps in along the way. You really want to know that you've got a really good relationship with a recruiter, because all of that life cycle really has to be done. And some companies are under different rules of compliance with government programs, OFCCP, which is government Office of Government Compliance. So you want to make sure that there's a certain amount of diversity, a certain amount of regionalization, a certain amount of days that your posting needs to be, appearing in certain types of online or public publications and so on. So there's quite a bit of legal maneuvering as well. And then at the end of the day, everybody wants to give everybody the fair shot. Typically, hiring manager, someone leaves, and it may take more time on the outside to get a vacancy approved and ready to go than it is for the time that someone's given them notice to leave. So there's usually a sense of urgency on the hiring manager that puts a little bit of stress at the start of the process.
And yet we know that human beings are the most important assets that we have, right, in Absolutely. An organization. So that whole process Absolutely. Is pivotal.
Yeah, I didn't want to gloss over it, but it's easy to get tied down in it. A bad hire, and it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It doesn't mean that there's anything behavioral. It could be that maybe they've oversold and underdelivered in the job that they're in. But to get that person through your system some other way, or get them out of your system to get the right person in, because you owe it to your business to have the right person at the right place, is costly. It costs you to train them. It costs you to onboard them. It costs all around what effort's going in. And a bad hire can cost even a mid-sized company, like $5,000 to $10,000 just in the process of moving someone to either the position they're better suited for, or to move them out and the next person in. It's going to cost a company several thousands of dollars. So a good structured interview process is going to probably negate a lot of that, or mitigate a lot of that risk. There's always risk with a hire, but that helps them.
Yes, definitely. I remember way back in the dark ages when I had my first job, I don't even know if this is still a practice, but I actually paid a recruiter for the interview. Yeah. Whereas the company normally pays the recruiter. Is that still a standard practice where?
It depends. If you're going through an agency, you're probably paying the agency who the recruiter works for, or some recruiters could be incented to with some sort of a program of delivering a certain amount or filling a certain amount of jobs, depending on, some jobs are easier to fill than others. Some of the entry level jobs may be easier to fill, but now with today, essential workers, and it's very hard to get people into the food service business, because to bring them back because we learned during COVID how it's very difficult to bring them back based on they can't afford what is now the new rates for childcare or transportation or different things, because they were given some benefit, unemployment benefit. So it's going to be more difficult, but it may be they may not be able to deliver the same volume that they delivered before, because maybe there's other opportunities. And now people are giving sign-on bonuses to bring people back to the workplace that they left, to try to entice them back. So there's a lot of little tools out there for a recruiter, but it's ultimately recruiters are specialized, and if they get to work within a company and be on the inside of a company, that's a more unique place. But that's probably the most desired place as a recruiter, is to be within a company that you really like. And I think that's an important part. When I went to human resources, we were able at that point to insource our recruitment 20 something years into doing this, but it tamped down a lot of the noise that was associated with lots of people going in lots of directions and not a lot of tightness around the process.
Well, you certainly know your stuff, that's for sure.
It was I think part of it, and part of it was born out of being a manager in the business side, understanding what my expectation of the process and being maybe under receiving what I thought I would be getting. I thought sometimes you get a little shortchanged because you don't have enough resources to do the work you're doing when you're filling so much. And I was in a fast-growing division, but when I was in HR, we were averaging about 1,800 fills a year, and I had 6 recruiters, full-time recruiters, And then I had two more recruiters that I hired. But with the 8 recruiters, we were filling a lot of jobs, and the recruiters were filling the internal jobs just as well. We're bringing people through interview process and all that, even on the internal ones. So it's a lot of work, but good recruiters can really make a company move forward fast.
Thank you for all that fabulous information that's so valuable.
Thanks.
Megan, did you have any comments for Mike?
Great information. Having worked in hiring for a very long time, I would say great information. The intentionality behind what you're talking about is so crucial to the entire process.
Thanks.
All right, we are going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors. And then when we come back, Megan, we will spotlight you. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.
The world of healthcare is benefiting us in many ways, but the risk of becoming a victim to an airborne infection is increasing at a fast pace too. There are threats from viruses, allergic pollen, and chemicals which cause you loss of health, income, business, mental health, family and friends. All are at stake. One solution to this threat are the BV Air Sanitation Placide-based systems. When you call our team on 0208 104 3253, you find out about the amazing protection available. Protection that uses certified Battlefield, tested, standard and customized air disinfection systems for your personal and business use. Each system uses a filterless technology known as Placide, which attacks all airborne particles with microlighting to destroy and eliminate viruses and other harmful particles in your office, transport and home. You also benefit from extra bonuses such as low running and maintenance costs, no regular filter and part changes. You get to work with our trained experts and professional staff and be made aware of the latest in airborne protection and disinfection strategy. Keep yourself healthy by working with our trained experts and Placide virus killing systems, which keep you safe from airborne viruses. BV Air Sanitation Limited. We save lives, save businesses, and prevent infection. Schedule your free consultancy call and virus protection checklist. Call 0208 104 3253 or connect to us on www.bvbuster.com.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're happy to have you. You're watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You, lessons from the best. Here they are. Coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. Mike just shared a lesson with us that was spot on, and he's done. This is your 5th or 6th?
This was number 5.
Number 5, okay. 6. If you've missed any of his lessons, you want to go over to our YouTube channel, which is Dr. Jacalyn LLC, and make sure that you catch up. I also have Megan Sandwick here with us. Megan's just about to present. And I just want to say thank you to our 2 sponsors who are also charter presenters on A Better You. So Ben Chai and Mr. Al Sini. Nice to have you as sponsors. All right, Mike and I are going to hit the road, and Megan, we're going to spotlight you, and you can take it away. Do you have your deck?
I do. Yes.
Okay. You want to just share that?
Okay, here we go. I am sharing my deck in present.
All
Okay.
right, Mike, here we go.
All right, so today we're going on a scavenger hunt and we're looking for the most important treasure of all, your vital information, which truly are precious details when you think about it. You might be wondering, Megan, what do you mean vital information, and what kind of scavenger hunt are we going to go on? Well, we're going to start the scavenger hunt today, and then afterwards I'm going to challenge you to continue your scavenger hunt so you can fill your treasure chest with your vital information. Again, you might be asking what vital information is. What I consider vital information is information about ourselves personally, about our business that we need to access that we need to be able to access on a regular basis, or we need to be able to have at our fingertips. And so one of the things I like to do with my clients is ask them when we're working together, where is your vital information? Where do you keep all the important information about you? What might that mean? What are you talking about, Megan? Well, let's start our scavenger hunt right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And the good news about this scavenger hunt is you don't have to get up out of your seat. You can stay exactly where you are. What I want to do is I want to take you on a scavenger hunt to find some important details and information that is about you that you may need to be able to access at times, that people might ask you for it and you need to be able to find it. You need to be able to go into your treasure chest and say, voila, here's my piece of gold. So let's look at our scavenger hunt. Let's get started right now. So I'm going to ask you where in the world some things are. Where in the world? Where in the world? So I'm going to ask you, and I want you to think about this. So, and if you were to go and get it, what path would you take to get this? So I want you to think about this. So where in the world, where do you have all of your current tasks? Where in the world do you keep them? Is it on a to-do list? Is it on a Trello board or a Kanban board? Is it on your phone? Where do you keep your current tasks? Where would you find them? If you needed to easily access passwords, where would you find them? Do you know the password to your Gmail email account, the first one you ever opened, that we know you sometimes need to go back to? Do you know where that password is? Can you share a professional portfolio when asked? Let's say someone said, hey, I want you to present. I want you to be on a Better You. I want you to present on a Better You, and I want a little bit of information about you. Where would you go? As you're looking at this list, things like a link to a blog post that you wrote. Where is a bio that you have? When you think about it, when you're asked these questions, when someone says to you and might ask, like, what date is your website domain subscription due? Because you need to pay it at some point, right? Where is it that you go to get this information? There is a lot of times when we need to find information about ourselves and our businesses that when we're asked, it sets off a scavenger hunt, because it's one of those, okay, I remember I wrote it in my notebook and it's on this page, and so we have to go and look for it. What I want to do today is I want us to go on a scavenger hunt that's actually going to fill our treasure chest with your precious details, so you have all of that. So someone can ask you, hey, what is your Zoom passcode? And you say, boom, I know where to go. It's right here. Our goal today is to get you to start thinking about what is truly treasured information in your life. What are those precious details? What are those nuggets of gold that you need to be able to access and have, because it's going to make your life easier? So we're going to talk a little bit about your scavenger hunt and coming up with a treasure of your vital information so you're able to access it. Why? Because I will tell you personally, we have all experienced time in our lives when people will ask for something and we go to find it and it just starts down that black hole of that scavenger hunt, right? I can tell you I have been in that place many, many times in my life where I need something and it's like, I don't remember where it is. And it's always going to be right when you need it in that moment. So what I want to talk about, and the reason why we want to go through the scavenger hunt, is because we can start at this point, and I've started this place, and I'm sure you all have too, when you feel that frustration of, don't ask me for that, don't ask me for that, don't ask me for that, because there's lost precious details. Well, if we go through the scavenger hunt and begin to identify information that's valuable to you, all of us have different vital information. I will be honest with that. What it is it's about finding what's important to you and starting a process. So when you get new gold and when you get new information, you're able to add it in. And I will tell you, going through a process like this, here's what my life has been like. At first, when people would ask me for something, I would be lost precious details. I would be lost. I'd be like, oh, here we go. It's going to stress me out. After going through this process, there's going to be some ups and downs. Let's talk about that, right? We know productivity cycle. There's going to be some ups and downs. But I will tell you, after I've put my vital information together, after I have my treasure chest, I am singing. When someone now asks me information or something, I am singing because my treasures are at my fingertips because I know where they are. So that's what we're going to talk about. And that's what I want for you. As I'm talking about these things, are there pieces of information that you're like, yes, I need to write that down? Oh, what is the link for my Facebook page? Oh, what is the link? As you're thinking about any of those items, as I'm talking, if you have things that pop in, write them down. Write them down, and we'll talk about how to deal with them towards the end of this presentation. Why is it that we need to really spend time and be intentional with identifying our precious information and those gold nuggets that we're going to want to add in our treasure chest? Let's be honest. So there's several reasons, there's lots, but we're just going to look at a few right now. Save your brain power, matey. When you think about it, if we have to go and look for the same thing over and over and over and over, save your brain power, matey. Put it someplace where you know where it is, and you'll only have to look for it once. You will be able to save that brain power in the future and use it for something else. Think about it. We all have enough to do in a day. So saving the energy and time from not having to look for things is a win to our time. It also increases another reason, and this is something that I think is important in a hidden thing, a hidden treasure. One of the reasons we do want to have our vital precious details at our accessible and know where they are is because it helps increase the quality of what you're coming up with when you're in a scramble. So think about it. For example, I'll be honest with me. I am an introvert. You all might not know this, but I am an introvert. So there are some tasks that are more challenging for me when it comes to marketing because it's not my comfort zone. One of those is writing bios. One of those is writing anything about myself. That's just not my comfort zone. Some people say it's not because I'm an introvert. I say it is. That's just up to me. But that is something for me that has been a real challenge. And so one of the things that I have realized is that if I keep my bios that I've written in one place, then when I get asked again, I have some place to start, so I don't have to start from scratch. When we have to start from scratch with things over and over, remember, in the back of our mind, we've got that little voice saying, already done this, this is annoying. And we want to shut those voices up by saying, all right, I'm going to do this once. I know that it's important. So as I'm doing this, I'm going to save this information where it's very important, where I can get to it. So now I have, for example, my solution, because I was realizing when I was scrambling to put bios together, it would be like, hi, my name is Megan. I like to help people get stuff done. And the quality wouldn't be as good. And so it's really important to be intentional and take time because we want to present our best selves. Our most valuable details are our true treasure. I was talking to my niece last night, and she reminded me of this. So thank you, Taryn. Our most valuable details are a true treasure. Anything about us is important. We should treat it like gold and keep it in our treasure chest. Having information accessible, it's going to reduce your stress. It's going to make life easier, and it's going to help you work smarter, not harder. And isn't that what we're all after? There's another reason why we want to do this, and that would be because here's a gold nugget I have for you. Did you know we spend about 2.5 hours a day, or roughly 30% of the workday, right? So we spend about 2.5 hours a day searching for information. So this is information that Martin White presented in a LinkedIn post. And so I'm going to go over that again. We spend 2.5 hours a day, or 30% of the work time, we're searching for information. Who here has 2.5 hours a day to give up to look for stuff that you've looked for before? That is not the scavenger hunt that we want to go on. So we are going to talk about how we get on a scavenger hunt so we can take back those 2.5 hours, sleep during those 2.5 hours, do something fun, go to the beach. If you are able to create the scavenger hunt, create a treasure chest of your precious details, you'll have extra time every day and you should be able to spend it any way you want. So I'm going to say, go through getting your precious information together, have your vital information in one place where you can access it, then go to the beach because it's all where you need to go. So We've talked a little bit about my precious details and my gold nuggets. What are all of the possibilities and options that we can have? When you think about it, there are a lot of details that could go into the treasure chest. Our treasure chest could be pretty big, and it should be, because our treasure chest represents what we do. And so it should be great, and it should be overflowing with information and details. So here I've given you some examples of some things that you would like to have, or possibility things you might include in your treasure chest. Who is your payment processor? What is that process? Maybe social media planning, Is it links to your social media handles? Is it your networking calendar? One of the things that I've kept in my vital information, so networking, there's a group that I love called Lunch Club, and I have met great connections through Lunch Club. So now I have a place where I'm able to know who my Lunch Club contacts are. Finance tracking, expenses, anything that you need to be able to access and information people are going to ask you for can be included in your vital information. When I started with my vital information, it was my first spreadsheet. It was like, okay, here's my EIN, here's my business name. And now it's expanded, and what I keep has expanded, because now I make sure that I have things like my mission, vision, and values. What are strategic productivity partners' mission, vision, and values? Someone asks me, boom, I know I can go exactly where to go and get it. Anything like, what are freelance sites and project sites are you a part of? I don't know about you, but I have ended up signing up to be on a lot of different sites. Then sometimes I forget. So it's important to take the time and be intentional and write them down and document them. So identify what are those nuggets of information you're going to be looking for, because on a scavenger hunt, that's what you want to look for, and you want to put it on your treasure chest. So as we're thinking about it, here's my challenge to you. Identify, think of the list that I gave you, think of other things, and begin to identify what are the treasures you need to capture? What are the treasures you need to find? Do you have the phone number for your business? As a person who doesn't have a phone number for their business, I don't need it, but other people do. So do you have it? And then where are you going to put it? Putting it and identifying where it is and getting it into the treasure chest is important, so you're able to go back and access it. A couple of points I want to bring up. When we're talking about vital information, where you keep it is also important to you, because you want to think of things like security and safety, right? We know that in this world, whatever we keep online could potentially be accessible by others. So now the Megan hat of I'm an operations manager for a cybersecurity company is now reminding and wanting to point out to everybody, when you've got your vital information, you want to make sure you're storing your information where it's safe. Now, a lot of the information is probably, like bio, employer identification number, addresses. Those are things that probably you can keep with your regular information. But if there are specific passwords, or if there are tax ID numbers, or anything that needs to be confidential, ask yourself where you're keeping that. I recommend, I'm going to say LastPass because I love me some LastPass. I recommend keeping notes with that kind of information in LastPass or somewhere that's encrypted. But what I'm going to say is be intentional, not just to find the information, not just to have it accessible, but to make sure that it's in a place that's safe and that you feel comfortable with. So what I want for you to do is to really think, what can you go on a scavenger hunt? What are the details and information that you need? I want you to find your treasure. So what I would like for you to do is, after you've gone on this treasure hunt and you've identified the what's, I would like for you to come back and say, okay, of everything that I've said I want to find, I'm going to start with 3. I'm going to pick 3 and I'm going to find those. I'm going to pick first 3 things. I'm going to find those by next Friday. Then after that, I'm going to go to my next 3. And what you continue to do is 3 by 3 by 3, you're going to go down your list and you're going to have a scavenger hunt where you identify, and you're going to find new things you want to include to it. And that's great because it's yours and it's personalized. Finding your treasure and finding your vital information is going to make you work smarter, not harder. And when you think about it, that's what this is all about. My name is Megan, and I am a strategic productivity partner. And if you have questions about this or anything else, you can reach out to me at megan@downwithspp.com. Thank you so much.
Great information. Can I just tell you, I think that my treasure chest is the size of what used to be a Lincoln Town Car in the 80s. Remember how big they were? I'm constantly looking for information and I never know where it is. It's like I feel like sending you my computer, Megan, and saying, please clean this up. I don't know what I'm doing. I love the slides also. They were very engaging. And you were very animated too. Yes, I was feeling your passion and I was feeling my pain at the same time.
No, but see that we're going on a scavenger hunt. That's a good one to avoid the pain, right?
Yes. I took a picture of the table that you had. I think that's great because I'm always searching, where's my EIN number? I have to go through the contacts and find. So all great information. Mike?
Thank you.
Yeah, I was taking some notes down during that because I want my wife to watch this when it's up on YouTube. She calls me the home cybersecurity chief. I get very nervous because you have a lot of accounts in life, and you don't realize how many you have. Everything you do in life, they want a log on and a password. So it's one thing having 100 accounts and 100 logins and passwords. Nobody can remember that. So learn how to kind of compartmentalize it. Maybe use certain passwords on for certain types of accounts and get yourself organized. I think it's a fantastic opportunity. And then I would add one thing that I learned a few years ago. I learned from someone who was in a high-tech security role. They said that a lot of these algorithms go and they search for passwords to try to break codes and figure out use all topical stuff of someone, like their birthday, their children's names, their high schools or whatever it may be. And there's certain ways that they put combinations together. But one way that the algorithms can't work is if you write something backwards, because they're not real words at that point. So if you wanted something and you started to realize how easy it is to create something backwards, come up with a string of something in your life that you could remember, and then you utilize those, and that became an easy thing. And I'm trying to explain to my wife how easy it is, but you don't remember it because you think things in logical forward order. That's something that you might want to try that.
I will borrow that and share with people. I'll give you credit, Mike. I promise.
That's all right.
It's interesting. I've been watching a Netflix show. I think it's called Startup. And this woman who's like an expert at many things, she actually is trying to get invited to this exclusive event, and it shows that she's not one of the people who's been invited. And she figures out, you can watch the algorithm. It said there's I think like 1,000 some choices for a password, and you just watch the computer go back and forth, and it figured it out. I was speechless.
Yeah.
So I guess we're really not that safe.
I think another point, what really stands out, is it's stressful because usually somebody needs something. You're on the phone and they're like, well, can you give me the number of something? And then you got to go look for it. And it may be something that you should have a warranty or something. And you may not think how easy it is to save something that's that important. But and on yours, it says it reduces stress. It reduces the other people's stress as well, because they're probably just as under a time limit and waiting for something, and they can probably start to feel it in your, in the exasperation of having to search for it. So I love that. I think this is a fantastic subject for people to take charge with.
And I loved how on your slide, I think it was, we waste 2.5 hours of time looking for things. I think I'm up to like 5 or 6 hours. I wasted time. But even when I called my provider for my website, you have to have your customer number. And if I'm on the phone, I don't have the customer number. Like, why did I call when I'm not? So if I had a piece of paper and it was all there, it'd be so simple.
It's so true. And what the other thing that it does is how it disrupts you and takes you away from what you're working on. And so we all start out with a plan of what we want to do for the day, right? None of us sit around like, okay, someone's going to call me and ask me for something today. I'm waiting. So we have a plan and we have things we're looking for. So if we have to be disrupted, it's hard to get back, especially with the frustration and irritation and all of those things.
Yes.
And it's not always easy sometimes to find the right numbers. Like I know in the banking industry, if you have personal accounts or even your business accounts and you go online to do your banking, it's very difficult to find your account number in your own account. It's very difficult.
Yes.
You have to know how to go find it. And it's usually in some sort of statement somewhere that you have to download through there, because banking knows that banking gets hacked. So therefore banking keeps certain numbers out. So if you're in a hurry, sometimes you will just continue that spiral.
Mm-hmm.
That's great
Very
stuff,
true.
Megan. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Two extremely interesting presentations. So thank you both for being here and for shining your light on the world with all of your expertise. Yay! All right. I will let you go and see. Mike, you're coming back tomorrow?
I'll be on tomorrow, yes. Tomorrow we'll
Okay.
be doing diversity, equity, and inclusion.
All right. And Megan, I'm sure you're on next week?
Next Wednesday, making your calendar a party for your eyes.
Oh, that sounds fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Look forward to both of those. So thank you again for being here, Megan, and thank you, Mike.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. It has been such a pleasure. I mean, how can you not enjoy learning this incredible information that's really pertinent to all of us? I just wanted to share with you, we have 2 more shows coming up today. We have It's All About Dating, and my new co-host is Lori Mendelson. That show is at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 9 p.m. British Summer Time. And then we have A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And we actually have a new presenter today, Stephen Gillum. So we look forward to that. That's at 5:30 Eastern Time, which is 10:30 British Summer Time. My last announcement is I have launched my book, Behind the Green Screen, How to Succeed in the Live Broadcasting Business. You don't have to have any interest in broadcasting to buy this book. This book is basically my how and why I left the corporate world during the pandemic, and how I started this broadcasting platform that was strictly a radio show that was on the phone. And then we went to Zoom, and from Zoom we went to StreamYard. We were streaming to one platform, and now we have 17 shows, and we're streaming to 6 platforms, and then podcasts on 5 others. And we are launching 3 more shows. So in the book, you will learn how to succeed in the live broadcasting business. There are checklists. There's all the information of what I did, what my journey was. You also learn how to start your own business. And you'll also get to read my personal and vulnerable shares about things in my life during my journey. So you can go over to Amazon, again, Behind the Green Screen. Just search Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck and you'll be able to find it. It's $19.99. I have not received my copy yet, whereas my sister has and some of my friends have. So I look forward to getting my copy also. Thank you again. We look forward to seeing you in just a little while on It's All About Dating.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.